Welcome to the Butterfly Effect. I'm Chris Horner. This is Strade Bianche 2025. Now, if you watched last year's edition, you saw Tadej Pogačar win 81 kilometers solo out to take a magnificent win here at Strade Bianche to give him his second win here. Now, the only other rider in here that's got 2 wins, well, that's Michael Kwiatkowski from Team Ineos. When he's doing his interview before the race started, he's talking about how the race organizers need to make this race a little bit easier. When everyone else is talking about it needs to be longer so it could be a monument. The big debate in the last 5 years has been that Strade Bianche needs to be a monument, and I told you guys that it just can't be at this distance and with this kind of quality field. So Michael Kwiatkowski wants it to be easier. I want it to be harder. Tadej Pogačar says anything can happen, so you got to be prepared for everything. And then we start looking over at Tom Pidcock, the other big favorite, who's a winner here at Strade Bianche too, just a couple years back. Well, he says that no one should be thinking about who is the guaranteed winner here. Everyone should be racing for the win. Well, when the cameras come on, it's 97 kilometers to go, and there's 6 riders in the front group. We start looking up there. Connor Swift from Team Ineos is representing up there, and then Lewis Askey from FDJ. Donovan from Q36.5 is there. Renderink from Soudal Quickstep is there. Full Dagger's there from Jaco Alula, and Weiss is there from Tudor Cycling. As we go back and look at the peloton, it's UAE Team Emirates on the front with 4 riders. Florian Vermeersch is driving it on the front. Del Toro sitting second, the Mexican rider. And then we start looking at Tim Wellens is there, and Tadej Pogačar in the championship rainbow band jersey looking fantastic, sitting 4th wheel. Behind him is, of course, the big-time favorite, Tom Pidcock. Now, he had big words talking about how you can't fear Tadej Pogačar here before the race started, and he's locked onto the UAE train. Now, we don't have to look too much further to find the first knucklehead, because it's X up there, Anders Johannesson, that's up there, and he's trying to attack UAE Team Emirates. All right, Anders, you're the first knucklehead here on the Butterfly Effect Strade Bianche when the cameras turn on proper. Maybe you guys were knuckleheads sometime before that, but right now trying to attack when you've got Florian Vermeersch going full gas right now before Santa Maria. The next gravel section starts, the real crucial one that decided last season's Strade Bianche here with Tadej Pogačar solo attack. It's not hard to figure out the strategy, right? If you're sitting at home on the Chesterfield, and I need to tell you that UAE Team Emirates are drilling at 100%, when you look at the size of this group at 35 riders, with 4 riders from UAE Team Emirates having it strung out, well, you know the X rider's a knucklehead if he thinks he's going to bridge across up to the 6 riders up there, if he thinks he's going to be able to hold off UAE Team Emirates. Well, first, before we get into Santa Maria proper with about 84 kilometers to go, as they're dropping down the descent, it's Ineos on the front. Ineos, Ben Turner's up there driving it hard. He's got Michael Kwiatkowski on his wheel, and they go into the left turn. Kwiatkowski loses the back wheel just a little bit and pulls out of his pedal. He's got to apologize to his teammate because he just wasted the Ineos rider's effort right here big time, because now he's going to drop to the back, and we see Del Toro's on the front. All right, if Del Toro's on the front and Florian Vermeersch isn't, and you see the group back there from the peloton just starting to blow up, you know Del Toro's going big. We look up at the front break of 6, and it's Connor Swift. That's the aggressor up here from the breakaways that started here at Strade Bianche on Santa Maria. Was Connor Swift drilling it? You see the group up there of 6 really hurting. They'll kind of come back together and latch back. Then we go back and start looking at the cameras from the peloton back there. Del Toro's driving it, and you see the gap there from Tim Wellens. What's happening to Tim Wellens? Well, look at his chain. It's getting kind of sucked up into his frame right there. So that's why Tadej Pogačar's got to get on the radio. He does. Tim Wellens gets his gears back under control, rolls back up on the second place there on Del Toro's wheel. Now Del Toro starts driving it with about just under 80 kilometers to go, as he's about 4 kilometers into his monster pool right now. He's only got 6 riders on his wheel. We start looking at those riders. Roger Adria is there from Bora Hansgrohe. Ben Healy is there from EF Education. And Gianni Vermeersch is there from Alpecin de Koenig, along with Tom Pidcock, of course. And without a doubt, let me not forget Tadej Pogačar, because it's his team drilling it on the front. As we see the look back there from Del Toro, he's going to pull off to the right. Now it's time for Tim Wellens to go to work. As Tim Wellens going to work, the gap up to the original 6 is blowing up all over the place, and Connor Swift's starting to go solo. As Connor Swift's going solo, he knows there's something happening in the back of the peloton there, and certainly his director sportif, if not his teammates, because the gap's gone way down under a minute now, so they know he's got to go full gas if he stands any chance of getting off of Santa Maria here with any chance of being in front of Tadej Pogačar and UAE Team Emirates. Well, we go back to the peloton back there, and we see that it's Tom Pidcock Tim Wellens is still on the front, but Tom Pidcock's moved up to the right side. Once he moves out to the right, he throws in the first attack here on Tadej Pogačar. This is our next knucklehead. The cameras have just turned on, and we got two knuckleheads up here, and Tom Pidcock from Q36.5 is the second one of the day as he throws in an attack on Tadej Pogačar. That attack lasts for about, I'll give it 7,500 meters, and Tadej Pogačar throws in a monster attack. Once he does, Tom Pidcock, to my disbelief and to my excitement too, I'm super excited because I'm sitting on the Chesterfield, and now I know we got a bike race as Tom Pidcock latches onto the back wheel of Tadej Pogačar, stretching out the gap a little bit, but Tom Pidcock fights to bring it back. As he does, it only takes 1 kilometer or 400 meters for them to start catching the breakaway, the original breakaway guys that are getting dropped as they're passing 3. Mark Donovan's in here from Q36.5, but Tom Pidcock's going straight past these 3 guys, drilling it with Tadej Pogačar on his wheel. How many times do I got to tell you guys on the butterfly effect, you never work with Tadej Pogačar? Never. Don't work with his teammates and don't work with him. Tom Pidcock, you should have waited for Tim Wellens to do more work, but instead you drove it. Now you're dropping your teammate. Of course, you don't have any choice now because the original group of the Peloton favorites back there is still hot on your heels at about 10-15 seconds. As they drop the 3 leaders, they're bridging up now to Connor Swift. Connor Swift from Ineos is the last of the 6 breakaway guys to start today's Strade Bianche. He's getting caught, and Tadej Pogačar throws in an acceleration. With the acceleration of Tadej Pogačar, they pass by Connor Swift. Connor Swift is getting gapped off. Tom Pidcock's latched onto the wheel there of Tadej Pogačar, but Connor Swift is back there swinging. Now Tadej Pogačar is going to do 1 kilometer, 2 kilometers up the front, and Tom Pidcock's not quite coming through. So what does Tadej Pogačar do? The Slovenian backs off the throttle a little bit. This back off of the throttle brings Tom Pidcock to the front, but now the pace of the front 2 riders there backs off. So Connor Swift, after about 3 kilometers of chasing, finds his way back on. We got 3 riders in the front group. Behind them, we start seeing that the breakaway riders are getting absorbed from a group of about, I'll call it 8-10 riders back there. So we got 11-13 riders now chasing the 3 riders in front. Now we're coming up to the feed zone with about 68 kilometers to go. Tadej Pogačar reaches over to get his bag, and it looks like it gets a little bit yanked. Now I tried to look at the Soigneur here. It didn't look like his fault, but maybe the cameras just didn't show it. Tadej Pogačar is a little bit upset and looks over right and yells some cuss words, what it looks like anyways, to a Soigneur. Gets the bag and then does what? Well, he hands the bottle over to Tom Pidcock from Q36.5. These guys are being very cordial right now with 68 kilometers to go. As we go back and start looking what's happening with the group behind, well, attacks are starting to happen back there as we see the 3 original breakaway riders. They get dropped out of this group. Now we got 8 guys up there chasing the 3 in front. We come into 50 kilometers ago and you see the bell tower. Once the cameras focus off on the bell tower, all of a sudden we see Connor Swift is off in the bushes, and then if your eyes catch it quick enough, Tadej Pogačar is in the bushes. He stumbles a little bit, catches himself with his arms. His glasses, his helmet's all crooked. He climbs out of the bushes. His mechanic's already got his bike coming over to him, but Tadej Pogačar wants his original bike. He grabs his original bike, jumps up on it, but look how the chain is only halfway on the chain ring, the big front chain ring there. Well, he gets it back on his bike, gets a push, and starts taking off. Now we see the mechanic throw the bike back up on the top of the truck there, and then all of a sudden we start going up to the front. We see that it's Tom Pidcock going full gas. Connor Swift is in the middle. He went off the road, but he didn't crash, so he got a little bit of a head start on Tadej Pogačar, but not much. Tadej Pogačar starts getting on the pedals, but then all of a sudden, we see Tadej Pogačar pulled over at the side of the road. Well, he's got to get a bike change now because his first bike wasn't right. We backed the film all the way up when he climbed himself out of the thorn bushes through the tall grass and grabbed his first bike that he crashed on. That was a no-no because his mechanic had a spare bike right there. Now Tadej Pogačar's got to give up some more time as Tom Pidcock's going full gas up front. Connor Swift is still going away, and Tadej Pogačar is switching bikes again. We look at the fan there, came running down to get the picture there of Tadej Pogačar getting back on his bike and getting a push, and now Tadej Pogačar's off and running. Doesn't take him very long. We'll call it about 1.5 K to catch Connor Swift. As he's catching Connor Swift, look how fast he is going by the bushes there. Do you think that crash slowed him down that left turn? No way. Tadej Pogačar is flying. We look at Connor Swift holding on the wheel, and then Tadej Pogačar accelerates as they start the little descent on the gravel, and Connor Swift is getting popped. Now Tadej Pogačar knows he needs to catch Tom Pidcock. We go up front. We look at Tom Pidcock as he's coming over the top of the bend there. He looks back over his shoulder and he realizes the wisest thing to do right now, shut off the gas, sit up because Tadej Pogačar, the #1 ranked rider in the world, is hot on his heels. As Pogačar latches onto the back wheel of Tom Pidcock, he sits up. All right, he's closed the gap right now. Now you start doing damage control. If you're a professional cyclist who just got done crashing your bike and doing a bike change, once you get back up to the front of the group here with Tom Pidcock, it's time to start reassessing everything right now. Well, he gets the car coming back to him, and as the car comes back to him, look how close the car is to the wall there. Machin, the director sportif right now for UAE team members, is doing some tight driving not to bump into Tadej Pogačar or the wall on the right side. As Tadej Pogačar gets his bottle, he rides back up to Tom Pidcock. Now it's time to start putting your computer back on. He pulls out of his pocket, he puts his computer back on. Now it's time to readjust his shorts, and you can start seeing all the damage that was done to the left side of Tadej Pogačar. Certainly there was no part of his body untouched here, besides possibly his head. Let's back the camera up and let's see if he bumped his head. We start zeroing in on the crash, seeing the focus there from the cameras, and we see Tadej Pogačar, how he lost it. I don't know if it's his front wheel or if it's back wheel that lost first. I call it both because it looks pretty even that Tadej Pogačar might have just come in a little too fast and out of position here. Once he slipped, though, and the bike came up from underneath him, you see him hit his shoulder. I don't see his helmet hit the ground. You see him slide all the way over the concrete there where he's got the driveway. He drops off the driveway, then hits the grass in the field there. Then he flips over. Maybe when he flips, he could have hit his head there. Once he landed in the thorn bush, though, it looks like as he gets out, he adjusts his helmets and his sunglasses, so something got bumped, but I don't think it was from the pavement. So right now, Tadej Pogačar is about ready to go as he's readjusted everything, got his computer working, got his fresh bottle, and is side-by-side with Tom Pidcock. The two start going in sync again, each taking even pulls back there, but as they start going down the gravel sections, Tom Pidcock wants the lead. If I take you back to that crash again, and this camera's going replays back and forth multiple times, look at how Tom Pidcock came into that left turn, all the way over on the right side of the road, while Tadej Pogačar was in the center, dropping into the left side, but staying too much on the center. Tom Pidcock, as Tadej Pogačar was losing it, saw the gap there, shot through the gap and made the turn because he started the corner, the left turn, in the right position. Well, now he doesn't want Tadej Pogačar in front of him anymore, so he's taking these next two gravelstone sections in the front, but Tadej Pogačar is still looking good, only losing a tad bit of gap coming through the gravel sections, but you might have lost that against Tom Pidcock anyways because he is a cyclocross specialist. So right now, Tom Pidcock's doing great, Tadej Pogačar is doing great too, and the two riders are holding about a minute gap on everyone else behind. Now, we start going back there and looking what was happening in the group of 8 back there. Well, there was some attacking going on with about 35 kilometers to go. It was Ben Healy throwing in the attack. He's got Roger Adria on his wheel, Tim Wellens, who's sitting on the wheel, and Pale Bilbao's there. Those 4 riders will catch Connor Swift right around 35 kilometers to go with the attack there from Ben Healy. Now we got 5 riders chasing 2 up front and 4 riders behind them chasing them. We start looking at the 4 riders behind them. It's Gianni Vermeersch. Michael Valgreen's back there sitting on because he's got Ben Healy in the front. Leonard Van Etveld's there. And Magnus Cort Nelson's representing Uno X, having a fine ride. Now, we start looking at Tadej Pogačar coming into this next section. He's looking pretty comfortable on the bike as he's going through all the lefts and right turns, taking them at maximum speed. And then we start coming into 21 kilometers to go for the 2 riders in front. Now, we come into the 15th section here of Gravelstones, and Tadej Pogačar's leading full gas as they're coming across what I'll call, maybe it's a little bit of a hard call, I'll call it a bridge, as they come right, left. They'll come out of that, Tadej Pogačar punches it on the Gravelstones. Tom Pidcock cannot hold on to the wheel as it starts getting a little bit bigger, and then all of a sudden Tom Pidcock blows, sits down in the saddle, and Tadej Pogačar is accelerating with a 10-second gap. As Tadej Pogačar pushes every stroke on the pedal, he's gaining more and more time on Tom Pidcock. Tom Pidcock is starting to suffer right now, and Tadej Pogačar showing the British rider how much form he's got and why you're a knucklehead for pulling ever with Tadej Pogačar here at Strade Bianche. With each pedal stroke, as I said, Tadej Pogačar is extending it, and he's up to 15-20 second gap already on Tom Pidcock as he's cresting the top. While that was happening, Tim Wellens, UAE team member, has started attacking from the back at about a 1 minute and 30 second gap to Tadej Pogačar. Now, Tim Wellens is throwing down everything, and the gap up there to Tadej Pogačar is growing to Tom Pidcock, but Tom Pidcock's losing time to Tim Wellens now, who's gaining at about 40 seconds back there to the back wheel of Tom Pidcock. But Tim Wellens, remember, he's been sitting on all day. Hasn't had to do anything because Tom Pidcock started the first attack back there with 78 kilometers to go. So Tim Wellens is bringing time back. We start looking at 9 kilometers to go. The gap's down to 35 seconds for that second place position from Tom Pidcock and Tim Wellens. But we go into 5 kilometers to go. Tadej Pogačar has extended his lead to over a minute. Tom Pidcock has gotten 10 seconds back on Tim Wellens. So it looks like we got the podium positions here started at Strade Bianche. Now it's Tadej Pogačar coming in the last 1K as he starts celebrating with the fans, giving high fives all over the place as the climb starts up to the finish here at the Piazza del Campo. Once Tadej Pogačar hits the climbs as it's all fenced off, he's throwing everything once again back into the pedals. We start looking further back. Tom Pidcock's not going to be able to bring back the time on Tadej Pogačar, and Tim Wellens is not going to bring back the time on Tom Pidcock. So we go back up to the front. It's Tadej Pogačar going into the right turn here at the top of the climb. Once he makes the right turn, he's a couple more rights and lefts. He starts celebrating as he comes out with about 150 meters to go, the last turn. Once he sits up and starts celebrating, it's both fingers in the air to take his 3rd victory here at Strade Bianche in 2025. He'll cross the line. He'll see his director sportif, manager to be more precise, Mario Giannetti there. He'll celebrate with him with a big hug. Mario Giannetti, wise enough, and of course an experienced pro, knows not to actually hug Tadej Pogačar too much because there is no spot on his body that's untouched right now after that crash with 50 kilometers to go. Tadej Pogačar then turns his attention back to the finish line because he's waiting for second place Tom Pidcock to come across the line. About 1 minute and 20 seconds later, when Tom Pidcock comes across the line, they'll shake hands, give hugs. Then Tadej Pogačar raises both hands as he knows Tim Wellens is going to come through for UAE Team Emirates to round out the podium here, and then we're going to see hugs there. Once we see all 3 of them up on the podium, you know the 25 edition was fantastic with Tadej Pogačar, Tom Pidcock, and Tim Wellens. Well, that's a lot of T's up there, all rounding out the podium here at Strade Bianche. Everyone in the top 10 did a magnificent job here, and they all came basically in ones throughout the top 10, so you know everybody suffered here at Strade Bianche. So do I think they need to shorten Strade Bianche? No way. This was a magnificent day of racing. Hopefully you guys tuned in early, enjoyed it as much as I did up here on the Butterfly Effect. See you again for the next video as Jonas Vingegaard has to battle from stage 1 of Paris-Nice starting tomorrow. Going to be a fantastic run. Visma Lease bike didn't do so well up at Omloop Het, Nieuwsblond, and Kern Brussels Kearns. They did not do very good here at Strade Bianche. It was only Attila Valters when the cameras came on with 35 riders in that front group. So all the pressure is going to be on Jonas Vingegaard to hold up Visma Lease bikes once Paris-Nice starts. Now, one last thing before I go concerning Tom Pidcock. This was his coming out race. I know Amstel Gold. I know he won that. I know he won here at Strade Bianche. But when you start going toe-to-toe with Tadej Pogačar, that's a coming out party. There's no doubt about that. Liège-Bastogne-Liège, when we're talking about trying to follow the wheel there of Remco Evenepoel, that was a bit of a coming out step. This is the next one here from Tom Pidcock, and he wasted the opportunity. That's why I called him a knucklehead. If he'd come in here with the kind of form that he had and just hit it, let Tim Wellens do the big acceleration there at Santa Maria. Once he's doing the acceleration and Tadej Pogačar attacks, you follow on the wheel. You look like you're in pain the whole time. You don't go pull for pull, and you certainly do not be the one to start the attacks with Tadej Pogačar on your wheel. Let the Slovenian do it. Do 25% of the pulling on the wind there to Tadej Pogačar's 3/4, and then maybe you have a chance of staying on his wheel. Now, you know my rule at the Butterfly Effect, you never pull with Tadej Pogačar, so you could have just followed with him, sat on him, made the group come back. If you sat on Tadej Pogačar and he didn't want to pull you all day, especially for 78 kilometers, then Tadej Pogačar sits up, they go back to the group. Now it comes into a tactical battle again after Tim Wellens gets on the front and controls it for a bit. Tadej Pogačar will throw in another attack. Then you do the same thing to him. It comes back to the group. Now Tim Wellens is dropped. Now it turns into a tactical battle. Nobody knows exactly how good you are, and then you get a chance of trying to win a second Strade Bianche here. When you try to go pull for pull with Tadej Pogačar, your only hope is that one, Tadej Pogačar crashes, which he did, and you still couldn't win, or two, he flats with 1 or 2K to go. 2K would be too far, so it'd probably have to be with 1K to go for you to be able to win. But you had possibility of winning here at Strade Bianche. You just had to hide your talent and how good your legs are. because they were fantastic today. A tip of the hat to how good your form was here in the 25 season, and especially here at Strade Bianche, and could tip of your hat to another level of fitness to stay with the Slovenian throughout Strade Bianche. But tactically, you have messed up a ton, and you only have to go back to your stage 1 at Andalusia to know how much tactics you need to add to your repertoire here in order to come into Strade Bianche and go pool for pool with Tadej Pogačar. Well, either way, I can't help you now because the race is over, but Paris-Nice is coming, so like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys on the next edition real soon.